Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
Friday the 13th. Let's go to camp. A young woman named Annie enters a small diner and asks for directions to Camp Crystal Lake, much to the shock of the restaurant's patron and staff. A strange old man named Ralph reacts to the news of the camp's reopening by warning Annie that they are all doomed. Enos, a friendly truck driver from the diner, agrees to give Annie a lift halfway to the camp.
Only halfway.
Halfway. Which, okay. During the drive, he warns her about the camp, informing her that a young boy drowned in Crystal Lake in 1957, 1 year before the double murders occurred. After Enos lets her out, Annie walks on. Annie then gets picked up by a Jeep. As the driver speeds past the entrance to the camp, Annie becomes concerned and leaps from the moving vehicle. When the driver fails to stop, she flees into the woods. The driver chases her and slits her throat. At the camp...
All of that for that.
For real. At the camp, the other counselors, Ned, Jack, Bill, Marcy, Alice, and Brenda, are refurbishing the cabins and facilities. They have a few strange incidents, including a prank where one of them pretended to drown, which is not a great prank.
No, you don't pretend to drown in a place where a kid drowned.
Yeah. And an unwelcome visit from the local police. They find a large snake in one of the cabins, chopping it in half with a machete.
Unnecessary.
They also receive a visit from Ralph, who again warns them that they are all doomed.
Just in case they forgot.
You're doomed. Hey guys, you're doomed. Just letting you know you're doomed.
If you didn't know.
Yeah. And as a violent storm closes in on the horizon, Steve, the owner of the camp, leaves the campgrounds to get more supplies.
Meanwhile, the unidentified killer begins to isolate and murder the counselors one by one. As the violent rainstorm hits the camp, Marcy and Jack enter the cabin and have sex in one of the bunks. Unaware that Ned's dead body is in the upper bed.
Yep.
Afterwards, Marcy leaves to visit the ladies' room, and Jack is attacked by the killer, who's lying in wait under the cot. Just stabs him right through the...
But you also have to think, the killer just was there the whole time.
The whole time.
They're just up there fucking.
So voyeuristic, I can't.
And just like, now's my chance.
Yeah, and then, what was it? Like, it's been a minute, but
it was like
they stab him through the bed into... Where did it come out? Like his mouth?
Throat?
I thought it was his throat.
I think it's his throat. Yeah, in his throat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Super cool. The murderer drives an arrow up through the bed and pierces Jack's throat, killing him. There we go. Just had to read a little more. While using the bathroom, Marcy hears a noise by the showers. She turns around and finds the killer wielding an axe and gets it slammed in her face.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, that scene in the film is kind of funny because it's just like a and then the axe.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is the axe coming down.
Yep.
It's like very classic 80s. Very classic 80s.
Yep. Meanwhile, Bill, Alice, and Brenda play strip Monopoly in Alice's cabin.
Yep.
Yeah. Later, as Brenda settles down to bed, she hears a faint, childlike voice calling, "Help me," from the woods. Nope.
Yeah, this next sentence would never happen. Fuck that nonsense.
Yeah. Brenda walks outside with a flashlight in the pouring rain, trying to locate where the child's voice is coming from.
I'm like, that the camp's not open. If there's
There's
kid's
no
voice,
children
fuck that
there.
nonsense.
Yeah. Kids
it
are
must
not
have been the
there.
wind. Back to sleep.
That part.
For real.
She goes to the archery range.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where you go. Hearing her scream, Bill and Alice go to investigate, but only find the bloody axe in Brenda's bed.
Which is wild.
Yeah. After looking around the camp, they find nobody and begin to suspect that something is up. Oh, finally?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Attempting to call the police, they discover the phone lines have been cut and that the cars won't start when they try to leave.
Which is, classic.
Very much.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. When the lights go out all over the camp, Bill goes to check on the power generator, but doesn't know how to operate it or figure out what is wrong. When Bill doesn't return, Alice heads out to the generator looking for him, and she finds his body pinned to a door by several arrows.
Yep.
Now alone, Alice flees back to the main cabin and hides. After a few moments of silence, Alice hears a vehicle outside the cabin and runs outside. She finds a middle-aged woman who introduces herself as Mrs. Voorhees. Alice hysterically tries to tell her about the murders. Mrs. Voorhees soon reveals herself to be the mother of the boy who drowned in the lake in 1957. Talking mostly to herself, blames her son Jason's drowning on the fact that the two counselors were having sex and were unaware of Jason's struggling in the lake. She tells Alice that today happens to be Jason's birthday.
Tough as fuck. Get over it and move on.
Like you can mourn your kid
For
and
sure.
what happened.
Absolutely.
But this is too much.
Way too much. These kids have nothing to even do
literally
with it.
nothing to do with
literally
it.
nothing to do with it. Whatever. Mrs. Voorhees suddenly turns violent.
Mm-hmm.
What? And pulls her knife on Alice, who uses a fireplace poker and temporarily knocks Mrs. Voorhees unconscious.
Yup.
Very nice. Then a chase begins. Mrs. Voorhees attacks Alice and slaps her around.
Yep.
Alice escapes and runs back to the main cabin, hiding behind a locked door in the pantry. Mrs. Voorhees, now brandishing a machete, breaks the door open and rushes in at Alice. Alice hits her on the side of the head with a frying pan, rendering her unconscious and believing her to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Heading out to the side of the lake, Alice sits down next to the water. But Mrs. Voorhees comes rushing out at her again with the machete. Narrowly avoiding her machete, the two of them wrestle next to the lake. Besting her attacker, Alice gains the upper hand and finally kills Mrs. Voorhees by decapitating her.
Mm-hmm.
Now in shock, Alice gets in a canoe and rows out to the middle of the lake, where she falls asleep.
The end. Oh, yeah.
Why the fuck are you rolling out to the middle of the lake?
She's like,
to
this is
fall
safety.
asleep? That's not... That's
She's like, this is safer option.
No,
Like, not really.
not
Like-
at all.
Like, not really.
No. Mm-mm-mm.
Alrighty. So this movie was released May 9th,
Mm-hmm.
1980.
Yes, ma'am.
The director is Sean S. Cunningham. A story by Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham. Distributed by Paramount Pictures, Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Pictures. Their budget was a range from $550,000 to $700,000 was their range with their budget. What was their box office?
Their box office was $59.8 million.
Which isn't terrible for their
For the 80s?
for the 80s and for that film. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very good.
Oh yeah.
very short movie, only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people might think this number would be higher, but it's only 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, I'm not surprised by it.
I'm not either.
I'm not surprised by it.
Mm-mm.
And that might be a lot of more modern people giving the review, which 100% makes sense.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I know when I watched this movie, I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you grow up knowing that there's supposed to be this specific looking character in this very specific film.
Yes, and then you go watch the film
and it's not even in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. The character doesn't even show up till, truthfully, the character that everyone recognizes doesn't even really show up till like the third film. So, yeah.
Yeah. Kill count. 10 people. It's a lot. It's a slasher.
Oh, yeah.
As you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
On to the cast.
Which we have a pretty decent
I know
cast.
I'm missing some people. But there's it's a thick list. Okay, so let's start off with Betsy Palmer.
Yep.
As Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah.
Mrs. Pamela Voorhees. Our killer. We also have Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
As Jack.
Yep.
Adrienne King as Alice. Laurie Bartram as Brenda. Janine Taylor as Marcy. Harry Crosby as Bill. And Robbie Morgan as Annie. Do you have anyone else?
Mark Nelson as Ned.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of our main cast. Now, I don't have like a shit ton of, for some reason, I don't know why, it was extremely hard to find. Well, I know why, because there's so fucking many of them. Trying to find special effects stuff that's specifically about the original Friday the 13th is very difficult to find.
The different movies.
Yeah. But I was able to find some stuff. I mean, the special effects stuff isn't crazy or intense. There is a couple things that were pretty interesting, but I will kind of get into that.
Yeah.
All right.
Hit me with it.
So, Tom Sweeney is our special effects man for this.
He's a legend.
Yeah, an absolute legend. So, I guess when he had done an interview and he was talking about like how people tend to perceive him, and he said that a lot of people are afraid of him.
Oh.
He said there's so many times when a guy will walk up and his girlfriend's like 50 feet away. And the guy's like, she's afraid to come up and talk to you. Will you say something to her?
Aw.
And it's because
poor guy.
People are just afraid. Even though he's essentially a sensitive kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes people are afraid of him because they think that, he's a gore mongerer and he loves to kill people and things like that. But, it's a job.
It is a job.
It means that he did his job well.
Also, a lot of the people who make these things, like, that's their outlet. So they're actually just, sweetie pies.
Yep. Yeah.
With good hearts.
Yeah. They're creative motherfuckers, man. It just means, like, if the film gets to you that much, it means that they did their job well.
Correct.
So, the slasher genre itself was solidified in the mid-1970s and exploded in pop culture throughout the 80s.
Yeah.
As with other notable slasher film series like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Which we've done all of those.
So,
I know we're getting to this one kind of late in the game, but
yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah. So, there's a Netflix series of original documentaries called The Movies That Made Us. And in their third season, they released an episode exploring the making of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Which included footage of writer Victor Miller at a convention panel revealing by directly quoting Sean S. Cunningham that the intent behind the film was to rip off Halloween.
Wow.
Literally, it was to rip off Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
In an oral,
checks out.
Yeah, in an oral history on the making of Friday the 13th, he claimed that he's also a terrible title maker. Before confessing that his working title for the film was Long Night at Camp Blood, which is actually a reference to the nickname that the local townsfolk give to Camp Crystal Lake for its deadly history. Little did he know that Sean Cunningham already had a title in mind. In fact, that all he really had in mind when he first dreamt up the idea, his first victim in Friday the 13th, in the present day storyline at least, is Annie, whose throat gets slashed before she can even make it into the camp. So I mentioned Tom Savini is our wonderful makeup artist, but they recall on The Movie That Made Us how the gruesome killing of Annie was achieved by gluing a flesh-colored appliance onto her neck with a slit in the middle that allowed the blood to release when she tipped her chin back.
Oh, smart.
So if she tilted her head back, it would be a part of the rip, and the blood would be, to give that effect to it, which is pretty cool. Savini also mentioned that he was able to apply the prosthetic within half an hour.
Nice.
So basically Cunningham could get the shot before sundown, which is nice. Sometimes it's very nice when your appliances are very simple, easy, and functional.
Yeah.
Because we definitely know nowadays that there are a lot of really intense prosthetic effects that people are put through.
Hours of application just to get a minute of screen time.
Oh, yeah. So what is considered one of the better known kills in the original Friday the 13th is that of a pre-Footloose Kevin Bacon as Jack, who gets an arrow stuck through his neck from underneath his mattress.
Yes.
Now, Tom Savini recalled that it was a tube rigged to excrete fake blood from Bacon's neck, but there's a moment in it where it kind of sputters, like it spits blood. He actually mentioned the fact that had become disconnected.
Oh.
So they actually had to improvise on the spot and blow into the tube. And this is what creates the famous squirting effect, because that actually was a mistake. That was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. But
we love happy
worked
accidents.
out perfect, man. For real. And then, so, an unhappy accident while filming Friday the 13th happened to Harry Crosby, whose off-screen death is revealed when Alice opens a door to find his character, Bill, stuck to the door with arrows going through various areas of his body, including his eye.
Uh-oh. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah. So the fake blood you see dripping from his eye...
Don't tell me it's real.
Was getting into Crosby's actual eye as they shot the scene.
Oh.
And once he got the prosthetic off, he couldn't see anything.
But he could see after they cleaned his eye out, yeah.
He would remain blind from the incident for about 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Up his paycheck.
Yeah. And because Tom Savini said that he was unaware that the blood made, that there was blood made for safe use near the eye had existed.
Oh, Savini.
He didn't realize
Come on, man.
that there was safe
blood.
blood.
Oh, you know that was a lawsuit.
Probably. That was probably a very quiet affair.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because imagine not being able to see from your eye for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure blind people can.
Yeah, but when you know that it's not.
Yeah.
That it's not supposed to happen.
Going from full vision, doing your job, only going half vision.
Yeah, is intense.
Yeah.
So.
But he was probably fine by the time the movie came out, like
probably
after post-production and all of that. So he was all. Yeah.
Now there is one more death that occurred that is a pretty interesting process. So Pamela Voorhees is also famous for being the first victim of a staged head decapitation.
What?
Actually shown in a movie.
Oh, okay. Groundbreaking.
Yep. Which Tom Savini and crew achieved by creating a realistic plaster mold of Betsy Palmer's head. And then Tyso Stravosky, who performed many stunts on the Friday the 13th set, in addition to helping with special effects, was the stand-in for Palmer during her death scene. So while keeping his own head down and out of sight, the fake head was attached between his shoulders by toothpicks, so it would easily fall off when Alice took her climactic final swing. So it was, one of the first times a decapitation had been fully seen on screen like that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Good job to them.
But yeah, that's all my notes. It wasn't super.
I mean, in my personal opinion, it does look kind of fake, but obviously.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of moments when you're looking through that film and you're just like, ooh, that's
fake.
Very fake.
Yeah. It is 1980, though.
Yeah. So you got to give them the credit that's due for the time, because you know for a damn fact that at the time, that traumatized a lot of people. A lot of these older films that we all look at and are like, that's some cheesy ass shit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that shit terrified many a people and
traumatized. People were peeing their pants and throwing up from Exorcist.
Many a people. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So that's just legit, man.
Very legit.
But yeah, that's all my notes.
That's all your notes.
So what you got?
What do I got? I got the superstition. I have the superstition surrounding Friday the 13th.
Nice.
All right, here we go.
Hell yeah.
So, this is obviously a very unlucky day with very deep historical and cultural roots. But it blends a lot of different things. You've got religion, mythology, history. So, let's dive in.
Hell yeah.
To why this particular combination of the day and number is so ominous.
And it's kind of funny because it's heavily American. It's heavily American and expressed through America. Like, it's everywhere.
Let's find out. So, I'm going to start with more religious stuff.
Yeah.
First, starting off with Christianity.
Yep.
So, Friday the 13th and bad luck in Christianity tied to significant events in religious history. So, at the Last Supper, Judas, who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th guest to sit at the table.
Yep.
So this association of betrayal and misfortune contributed to the negative perception of the number 13.
Yep.
Fridays were already considered unlucky in Christian tradition just because...
Which is interesting.
Because of the crucifixion of Jesus took place on a Friday, which is why that's all.
So they were Friday, like, all Fridays.
Yeah, all Fridays, ass.
Yeah.
Except that one.
Whereas in society now, it was like, thank God it's Friday.
Yes. T-G-I-F-T-G-I-F.
Yeah.
Also, Fridays were seen as days of penance and mourning, further solidifying the day's unlucky reputation. So that's Christianity.
Yeah.
In Norse mythology, because there's some in Norse mythology too.
Oh, yeah.
It goes all over. All right, so the number 13 is tied to chaos and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You see where I'm going with
Yeah.
this? Loki, what up? So, according to legend, a banquet was held for 12 gods in Valhalla. But Loki, the trickster god, crashed the gathering as the uninvited 13th guest.
Yeah.
His presence led to a series of events culminating in the death of the beloved god Balder, bringing sorrow and disorder to the cosmos.
Yeah.
So that myth was very influential in establishing 13 as an unlucky number, particularly in the Western cultures.
Yes.
We also have the Knights Templar.
Mm-hmm.
So on Friday, October 13th, Friday the 13th in October, that's always a big one.
Mm-hmm.
1307.
Yeah.
The 1300s. King Philip IV of France orchestrated a mass arrest of the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
Who, this is going back, I don't know why this wasn't put together, but they were a powerful Christian military order, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Accusations of hearsay, blasphemy, and other crimes leveled against them.
Yeah.
Many of whom were tortured and executed. But so that was on Friday, October 13th, 1307. This dramatic and tragic nature of these events, combined with the association of Friday the 13th, I can't speak today, left a lasting mark on history and superstition.
Yeah.
There's so many other things. Let's go. We have the Code of Hammurabi. So, one of the earliest written legal codes. Said to omit a 13th law. It's said that it could have been due to just like a clerical error or formatting preferences rather than superstition, but later interpretations associated this absence with the numbers unluckiness. We also just have the number 13. Many cultures, the number 12 is seen as a symbol of completeness and perfection, which is why there's 12 months in a year, 12 zodiac signs, 12 apostles, 12 Olympian gods.
Where in truth, we should really not have 12 because that's what throws all of our shit off.
Yeah. Yes.
That throws it all off. That actually technically throws us all into chaos.
Yeah, there actually should be 13.
Yeah.
What?
There should be 13.
There's a 13th zodiac sign is what a lot of the
like if the months were done
astrologists say
appropriately and correctly, things would level out and be normal throughout the year.
Was it 13 or 14? I don't know.
It was something along those lines where like there's an extra month that
I do believe
is missing.
I think it's 13.
Essentially.
Yeah. But because 13 is more than 12, that disrupts this harmony that
people perceived.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Making it seem irregular or unbalanced. And over time, this association...
Do you think they had OCD? Was that it?
For sure.
They made this and they were like, it bothers my OCD.
Yeah. They're like, 13, that's one too much.
I don't know why it bothers me.
It's not divisible by
obviously
anything.
OCD didn't exist yet, but like they're like, something in the alignment bothers my soul. Yeah, that's called OCD, bitch.
Yeah. It's not divisible by anything. I don't like it.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah. So then hold on.
Do you have like the Asian equivalent, like the Japanese equivalent?
I do not. Although I should though.
It's the number 4.
Yeah, this is about the number 13.
Yeah. But it's their equivalent to the 13 is a 4 because the alternate way of saying the number 4 in their language can also translate to death.
Yeah.
Which is why they're like cousins of the same family of like number association. So there won't be like rooms or floor 4s and stuff like that. Like they avoid that.
I thought they also did that for 13.
They might do that for 13 as well, but I know 4 is a big one and is like based on their culture and based on like how they say their numbers, because there's 2 different ways of saying the number 4. One that most people say it and the formal way, and I think it's the formal way that can be like if pronounced a certain way is like death. So that's their association with it. So, I mean, it's the same reason why, like, we don't have floor 13s.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
Yeah. We don't. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. If you've ever been in a building that has...
Yeah, I don't even think most places have a room 13.
Oh.
Yeah. That I'm aware of.
Interesting. So. I went to the theater last night and they had a theater 13.
Yeah.
I wonder like how that...
I know that most places don't have a floor 13. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know about the room thing.
I don't think the room thing matters as much. I don't know why floor 13 matters. Because it's like...
I know that there's been... Like, I think there were stories about, like, bad things that happened in buildings that had a floor 13 or, like, stuff that happened bad because of it.
You know what?
So.
I'm going to look it up.
Why do American buildings not have a floor 13? Because I definitely think that they have room 13s. Because I don't think that that's... At least I assume. That's making a big old assumption.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's actually a word for the widespread fear of the number 13.
Ooh, is it the phobia word?
Yeah. Yep. It's...
Just attempt it. They're all weird. Just attempt.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Gotcha.
I think I crushed it.
Yeah, I think you did good.
Maybe not. Yeah, there's no, like... specific stories of things happening on the 13th floor. It's basically just a lot of people think it's also a psychological impact. So if there is a 13th floor and the association of 13, it's
like
just,
psychosomatic.
Yeah. Like adding perceived paranormal activity due to heightened sensitivity.
And I think that's why they don't have them.
Yeah.
Is because either new buildings that just don't have them, period, because they... because of that mental place. But I know that there have been stories, at least, of buildings that have had that floor, and the people are like, bad things happen on this floor and all this kind of stuff, and bad things either happen to the building in general or whatever, and things like that.
It's because you have a 13th floor.
Yeah.
Might as well skip the headache and just cut the number out.
Exactly, which is so funny.
It's not like you can cut the level out.
Because
I mean, the 14th is still technically the 13th.
Yeah, you're just giving it a different you're just plastering a different number next to it, but whatever.
It's still the 13th floor, guys.
Yep. Unfortunately, the numbers that your floors are, like, after 12 is all wrong.
Yep.
Every single floor after 12 is just wrong.
Absolutely wrong. Sorry about it. But yeah, 13, unlucky. I don't know why, really. I mean, they've said it, but
yeah.
This is all just kind of religious aspects and things that might be true.
Yeah.
You know. I want to talk about a little thing that was mentioned briefly. And that is the snake scene.
You're talking about when they cut the snake in half?
Yes. So I didn't know this till I was doing this research, but apparently in that scene, the director, Sean S. Cunningham, decided to use a live snake for realism. So a real snake was brought in, and it was a pet snake owned by the animal wrangler on set.
Please tell me that they knew that this was happening.
No.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. Now you want to talk about a legal lawsuit.
Yeah.
That man murdered someone's pet.
Yeah. The snake appeared in the scene, and the actor was instructed to kill it with the machete, and it was indeed killed on camera. And that has drawn a lot of criticism over the years from animal rights advocates and the viewers.
Well, that's also a legal issue because you hired somebody with faith, like from that person bringing their pet in, and then you
kill it. Yeah. At the time, there were much fewer regulations regarding animal treatment in films compared to today. But
you also don't lie to the people that you're hiring.
Definitely not. But the American Humane Association which now oversees the animal welfare on many film sets, they weren't present.
Which we did hear when we did Pet Sematary.
Yes.
They were very heavily watched for that whole situation.
Yeah, but here they weren't there. They just weren't there during production of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's now just another well-known piece of trivia.
Yeah.
But it's
animals were harmed in the making of this movie.
Animals were harmed. You see that real snake
actually be killed for nothing,
and I hate that. Like, a lot.
I may not like snakes, but that's not necessary.
That is not necessary at all. Hold on. Yeah. So, basically, his name was Iso. Iso the snake. Harmless bull snake. Accompanied by a handler who didn't know that he was going to die. But apparently he was very upset about it.
Yeah.
So...
Because you were essentially tricked into bringing something you gave a shit about in, and then they fucking killed it in front of you.
Just a little baby bull snake. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It makes me not like this movie.
I already just don't like this period, point blank. Which is which is tea for some people, but honestly, the majority of the people that I talk to about Friday the 13th in general tend to prefer later films. Yeah. I know number 4, the 4th one, is a pretty popular one.
Okay.
So
I've only seen the first one. Please tell me and our listeners more about the other ones.
Mother of God. Okay. Let me pull up
I've heard this spiel, but y'all need to know.
These motherfucking movies.
It's important. Like,
they're just... So, the sentiment that they said about wanting to rip off... Like, they literally made this film to rip off Halloween. Just to let you know, like...
That's just point number 3 of why I can't with this film.
But in general, these films were created because of the hype that occurred from everything else.
Yeah.
Like, all of the films that came out before it, all of those are... All of these films are because of that. Because of all the other scary movies and things like that coming out. They're literally just a milk off of the concept of a slasher film.
Yep.
And now, these motherfucking movies. There are 12. 12.
Unfortunate one.
Which is so stupid, also, when you think about it.
Like, they made 12. Oh, there's no 13.
Yeah.
Did they cut it off at 12?
I mean, here's what I'll do. I'll say Freddy versus Jason, I'm gonna cut that one out. So it is 13. So it's like, but it's still like, I'm not counting that one because I'm focusing on just straight up Friday the 13th films.
Yeah.
So there's technically only 11, but still, I'm like, motherfuckers, come on.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on. Okay. All right. So the second entry of this series focuses on a group of teens, would-be counselors, converging on Crystal Lake for training under the tutelage of head counselor Paul. Obviously, the story of Jason Voorhees becomes mentioned, and then talks about the mother who was on a murderous rampage. No one takes this tale seriously until Jason begins eliminating people. In this film, there's a weird moment where there's a blonde girl who puts on because Jason kept his mother's head.
Gross.
In like a shrine to his mom, I guess his mom was also abusive to him, but hey, what story of this ever tells you that the family wasn't abusive to some degree?
Right.
But he also kept her sweater. So this girl puts on this dead woman's sweater and tries to trick Jason into being like to thinking it's his mom so she can get away.
I want to know why parents keep being abusive to their children after all of these like cautionary tales of your child might grow up to be a murderer.
You know, that's a good concept. You know, we all fucking wish that was the goddamn case.
That they would heed warnings.
Would just maybe not.
Right.
I mean, did the 70s, did none of you learn anything?
No.
Did nobody learn nothing from all the serial killers?
Nope.
Not a one. Mm-mm. This came out this first movie came out literally 1980. The 80s. Whatever. Okay. So that's essentially just the quick little synopsis.
I just want
also,
you to
he had
tell
a fucking
me...
bag on his head for that whole movie. Bag. Oh. Not the mask, the bag. Okay. But you know what's offensive? All of it. You know what's offensive? All of it.
What do you mean?
Because it's just so fucking stupid.
Just give me a little breakdown of how crazy these movies get. Like tell me... Like,
so the second one is
when
just
does it
like
start getting weird.
Just wait. Wait. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now. Okay. This next one. So Friday the 13th Part 2 is kind of like a shitty sequel. That's essentially what it is. It's a shitty sequel. The third one. Okay. The third one. It picks up on the day after the carnage with the homicidal maniac Jason Voorhees. Mm-hmm. And essentially there's like a group of teenaged friends at a lake house. And essentially Jason just decides, I'm just going to start killing people. This is also where we get his first canonic nature with having the actual hockey mask. This is when you finally see it. Also, this movie was supposed to be released in 3D.
3D.
So imagine all of the really shitty shots that were meant to be in 3D.
Nah. I'm okay.
3D. There are so many scenes that you're like, that was supposed to be 3D. I see. I get it. It looked as bad as it probably did then. Oh, there's a whole like... I am there for those that are disabled. However, there is an absolutely fucking hilarious scene where someone in a wheelchair essentially is murdered and then it just tumbles down.
No.
And it's absolutely stupid looking. There's a lot of like, that look real fake level of like.
I think it's interesting to hear that
special effects happening.
That you're a Friday the 13th hater because you don't really hate on movies.
Oh, they're just
except for Would You Rather.
So bad, but it gets worse. It gets worse. Like, how you gonna look me? How you gonna look me in the eye and tell me that look good? How you gonna look me in the eye? Tell me that look good. There's just, it's just, they just are, because the problem is there's so many of them, but it's essentially like the same thing over and over and over again. Like, the only reason why Jason has the fucking hockey mask finally is because there's like a comic relief character that gets his shit kicked in who just had it. And this is also where we get our Jason getting his axe mark in his hockey mask for the first time. Ugh. All right. And then we move to the next film, which is called The Final Chapter. Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. This is the fourth film in the franchise.
They really thought they were done.
They really thought they were done. Now, this is the one that a lot of people consider to be the best one out of the films.
Okay.
Because you're getting a more true to form Jason Voorhees. Like, literally, it's kind of the Friday the 13th film series is slasher for the sake of slasher. Also, if there's like campers, teenagers, murder. Like, if there's a teenager, they're getting killed. If there's people having sex, they're dead. If there are, like, all of that, immediates. So, this whole film is based on a carefree lakeside vacation is interrupted by the re-emergence of the killer Jason Voorhees after he escapes from a morgue.
Oh.
Leaving bodies in his wake. Jason travels to Camp Crystal Lake where a group of friends is staying. The teens meet some locals as the group of teenagers engage in drunken debauchery. Their numbers begin to dwindle and a piece of the past resurfaces.
What I think is crazy is that you don't like these movies, but you watched
all of them.
All of them.
I kind of made that as a personal decision.
Oh, I know.
For all of the older films. Yeah. But yeah, you get a lot of like, there's like a whole storyline with like a young boy in this, like a brother and sister combination duo. And Jason is kind of stalking them. He gets fucked up because the boy gets attacked by Jason and then ends up having to get his like head shaved and all that kind of shit. And they're able to quote kill
Jason. Yeah.
But by the boy actually swinging to kill him by stabbing at him. And you actually get to see Jason without his mask on for a moment.
What?
So you kind of get to see the deformed version of what Jason actually looks like underneath the mask. And then we get Friday the 13th, a new beginning, because obviously they had to start over again. So this is kind of essentially the sequel to the fourth one. But now we have an older version of the kid whose name was Tommy. And he resides in like a mental hospital and struggles with the trauma of the experience.
Yeah.
But he moves to like, he gets moved out and to like a halfway house in like the countryside. And he constantly has nightmares of like Jason returning.
Fair enough, dude.
So, but then someone is killed. And as the body count increases, this is when obviously Jason hath arisen. Because that's kind of how it works. Obviously, for fuck's sake. And it's essentially like you're just watching all of these people slowly die again. Now, moving on.
Is this where it gets weird?
It gets, yeah. It's starting to get weird. It's really the next 4 films where you're about to be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? This one's the start of the what the fuck, but it's like the less what the fuck of the what the fucks. So this one, Friday the 13th, part 6. Jason lives. Because years ago, quote, when Jason was murdered again by Tommy, and Tommy was in a institute again to end a form of his torment, Tommy escapes from the hospital and heads to the graveyard where Jason is buried, intending to dig him up.
Dude, why?
And cremate the body.
Okay.
But before total annihilation can occur, and because he's holding on to something metal, a freak electrical accident resurrects Jason from the dead.
Okay.
So basically, they're holding on to like a metal rod over Jason, and then just like lightning strike was like, boom, he's alive, bitch, like Frankenstein. And then proceeds to chase Tommy's bitch ass around again for another fucking whole movie.
Lovely.
Till eventually Tommy is able to chain that bitch up and drop him into the lake.
Yep.
Because obviously they end up at fucking Crystal Lake again.
Yep.
Now, that's the start of the bullshit. This is where the bullshit really kicks off.
Mm-hmm.
This is Friday the 13th, Part 7. The New Blood. AKA Knockoff Carrie. Because this whole movie centered around a girl who has the telekinetic capabilities.
Oh.
And her family's freaked out by it because blah, 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 blah. And they essentially are living by the lake or things, and it's just so fucking stupid. So after the drowning death of her father, Tina Shepard returns to the site of his demise, Crystal Lake.
Her dad is Jason?
No.
Oh.
Her developing psychic powers were responsible for ending his life, leaving Tina riddled with guilt as an adult. There's a dangerous doctor who tries to manipulate her and tries to use her abilities for his own ends. So everything is surprised when suddenly her powers free Jason from the bottom of the lake, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, we need to take Carrie and find some way to give her a different name because copyright. And then, fuck it. She goes to Camp Crystal Lake and has a psychic phenomenal pop-up and wakes up Jason. Because we need that. Because we need a psychic battle between Jason and her and a fight.
Well, it starts other things, so.
Because that's necessary. Because these next few just don't. Oh my fuck. Okay, so the next movie. Friday the 13th. Part whatever the fuck. Jason Takes Manhattan. He stows away on a boat.
Like, what the fuck?
I don't fucking know. Look. He ends up on a boat somehow. He ends up on a boat going to New York. And his boat is filled with teenagers. It's like a shipping boat. It's like a big ass boat.
Okay.
It's like a class of students with their teacher. It's a whole fucking situation. And they're just like, we're going to New York. And it's like, people start dying because Jason is on this boat. And you know what? Jason, the people get off the boat by getting on a rowboat to get to New York faster. Because they're a distance off the shore. But somehow Jason's there before them.
Okay.
Like, he's there at the same time, but not. And I'm just like, how the fuck did you get there? You were on the big boat. How the fuck? You didn't have okay. Okay. You just doggy paddled your ass over to Manhattan. Sweet. And somehow managed to re-find all of these kids in this city. Sure. You have psychic radar for your murder victims.
Yep.
Okay. And essentially, that's him in Manhattan. This next fucking movie. Jason Goes to Hell. The final Friday. I swear to fuck. These movies. You barely see Jason in this movie. There's so much random shit. There's like Necronomicon level of crap and like summonings from hells. And really what happens is I think a portal opens to hell and Jason gets his ass dropped down in it.
Cute.
Like, it's just so fucking dumb. I'm just like, why? There's like, because Jason Voorhees gets blown away by a team of FBI agents.
They're ridiculous.
Jason Voorhees needs to find a way to overcome certain death. Because that's necessary.
Right.
When his bloodied remains are sent to the morgue, his heart, still intact, is able to hypnotize a coroner and take over his body. His heart is able to hit. Now, Jason Voorhees has hypnotism using his heart. His heart hypnotizes people and then possesses him.
What the fuck?
So after brutally dispatching a couple of FBI agents, he heads back to his favorite stomping grounds, Crystal Lake. And then he commences another team massacre. While a bounty hunter...
How is this lake still fucking open?
While a bounty hunter...
What the hell?
Finds the only way to kill him, which is to send him to hell.
Right.
So I don't fucking know how this next movie happened, because if he was sent to hell, how the fuck did we get Jason X? This whole...
Is this number 10?
And the dumbest one of them all.
Yeah.
Because it's Jason Goes to Space. Because they always have to go to space.
Yeah.
All of them. Every time. Why do they have to go to space? They don't need to go to space. Why does he have to go to space? This is the one that truly, I swear to, this is a mock you movie without question. This whole movie is fucking ridiculous. It starts with like them cryos, like they've got the most dangerous killer in the world and they're gonna cryos his body. The year is 2455.
Oh.
The place, Old Earth. Once the shimmering blue jewel of the galaxy, Old Earth is now a contaminated planet abandoned for centuries.
Right.
Yet humans have returned to the deadly place that they once fled. Not to live, but to research the ancient, rustling artifacts.
Okay,
by the bygone civilization that caused this environmental disaster.
So why the fuck was Jason one of these people?
I know. Little does the most recent landing party of intrepid young explorers realize the fate that awaits them. Literally, he gets, like, it's the past, where, like, he's being cryoed, and then, but, like, also is alive somehow, and, like, shanks the girl that was in the room with him through his cryopod, because that's how this works. So she's a dead body on the floor and he's like in a cryopod but like surrounded by ice because he did get cryoed but was still alive, whatever the fuck that nonsense is. And then this like space group's like, oh my god, Old Earth shit. And they fucking find the room and think it's a smart idea when they know that this is a fucking... They literally know he's dangerous. And they see the body...
So honestly, it's on them.
On the floor. They see the body, the dead body on the floor, and they see him in the thing, clearly with a hole through it. And they're like, let's take him up with us to our spaceship.
This sounds like a personal problem.
He slowly dethaws.
Yeah. We
get a whole, like... I swear to fuck this movie, like I said, is a joke. I swear to God. Because he, gets tricked for a period of time in a simulation with two naked teenage women. Butt naked women.
Yep.
Being like, we're gonna fornicate and na. Literally just to trick him to just keep killing them over and over.
Oh my god.
I swear to fuck. And there's this whole there's this dark and edgy robo lady, but she's in love with one of these other people on the ship, and she's like, I'm gonna fight him. And she's like this Matrix.
This honestly sounds pretty good if it wasn't a Friday the 13th movie.
It's good and it's absolute shit.
Okay.
But it's and then he goes from looking like old Jason to Jason X Terminator. Because
I'm fucking dead. Let me see. Let me see this shit.
He's Jason X.
Oh my god, that literally is Terminator. Terminator ski mask.
He's fucking Terminator.
Yeah.
Like,
damn.
This is literally, he's Terminator. And this is our sexy robo lady who
That's
fights
what I figured.
him.
Yeah.
He's literally, I swear to fuck, these movies are just fucking wild. I swear to God. Because they find him as old shitty Jason. And then he just becomes buff metal Jason. Because that makes sense.
Hey, I'm not going to question it.
For real. And then,
if they're making money, I guess.
And then we finally get Friday the 13th in 2009. If there were ever going to be a movie that I would say, if you have never seen Friday the 13th before and you actually want to watch Friday the 13th because you know of this character named Jason Voorhees, this is the one you watch. This is the one you watch.
Okay.
If you want, I would honestly recommend watching this one first, then watching the original first one.
Okay.
Because this one is the one where you actually get a scary Jason, the Jason that everyone knows, the Jason that is absolutely the one that people recognize. It's the Jason that you know.
Yeah.
The terrifying, redneck monster Jason. The one that, like I said, everyone recognizes. But yeah, 100%. This is the movie you watch if you want to get the Jason that your brain thinks. So don't be disappointed like me.
So I guess I've got to see that one.
Don't be disappointed like me. Go actually watch the 2009 Friday the 13th first.
Yeah.
And then go watch the original Friday the 13th. You'll understand better why that first one is more disappointing because of the fact that there's no actual real Jason in it. And then if you really just want to, watch something really stupid, I would suggest Jason X if you want to watch something dumb. And then if you wanted to watch something that was considered the better original Jasons, watch the fourth one, which is the final chapter one.
Yeah.
So essentially, 2009, the 1980, the final chapter, and then Jason X if you really want to watch something dumb.
Yeah, these movies are crazy, and I needed you to talk about that because when you told me about that for the first time, I
swear to God,
literally didn't know.
Literally the wildest set of fucking films. That are literally just fucking slasher for the sake of slasher. Like, not even to be good slasher. The best one out of them is the 2009 one.
Yeah, guess I'll be watching that.
So,
maybe when next Halloween season comes around.
Because it's the Jason that you know. Not his goddamn mom that you weren't expecting. Because also, here's the other thing that's really stupid that most people don't realize. But I realized it from researching it. You know that sound effect that you hear throughout the first film? A lot of people say it wrong.
What do you mean?
The that shit
Oh, yeah.
in the movie?
Yeah.
They say it wrong. A lot of people do the hee hee ha ha, like that kind of shit. They kind of do it that way. It's ki, ma.
Oh.
Because what it actually is Mrs. Voorhees mimicking the mental state. Like, she's having a psychotic break. She believes her son is telling her to kill people. So that actually is
like kill
mommy. Kill mommy. So the key ma is the echo coming from her mind. Mm-hmm. That sound is happening inside her mind.
Yeah. Speaking of Mrs. Voorhees, though, there were a lot of people in the 1 stars.
I'm not surprised.
Who just were all
over that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they said. It was
laid out.
A lot of them were just talking about how Jason isn't in the movie.
Yeah. This is all the people. You cannot have an iconic character like that and then tell people to watch the original. Yeah. That's a disappointment.
Yeah.
Waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm. Because it was. I saw that movie for the first time and I was like,
that's disappointing.
The fuck?
Where's Jason?
I'm confused. Yeah,
Where's Jason?
I was pretty young when I watched it. And I was like, I thought this was supposed to be Jason.
Where's Jason? Where's the hockey mask?
Yeah.
It's even more disappointing when you realize that the hockey mask doesn't even show up till the 3rd fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I only have 1.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh. 1 star. Oh my God. How is this film worshipped and loved by so many people? This is a sign that our futures will horribly fail. Okay, guys. The whole movie is sex, talk, sex, talk, kill.
Accurate.
Sex, talk, sex.
Yeah, honestly, accurate.
Kill, sex, talk, kill. Sex, talk, sex, kill.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit.
And how such fit and healthy teenagers can't fight or run from a middle-aged woman is just unrealistic. No matter her weapons.
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is certified fresh by critics, but how can that be said about such pointless waste of a film? Any normal human being with insight can see that this film is nothing but a money spender. Sorry, fans.
Yeah, man, you gotta watch 2009.
Yeah.
If you want a better, accurate version of what your brain says Jason Voorhees is, go watch that one.
Mm-hmm. It'll help you be less confused.
Yeah.
I guess.
You watch that,
from that.
Then you watch the first one. That way you've at least said you've seen the original. Mm-hmm. But goddamn.
Mm-hmm.
I had never in my soul felt like I wasted more time watching a franchise.
Ever. You kept going.
And I kept going.
Ugh.
And I kept going.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the Power Rangers of Elm Street more. And that's saying something. And you know exactly what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers of Elm Street.
Yeah. Yes.
They were called the Dream fucking Fighters.
The Dream Fighters. That's, yeah. Go Dream Fighters.
For real. For real. One of the fucking characters just has a loud mouth.
Yeah.
And I swear to fuck. Oh my God. I don't know what happened in some of these franchises where they were just like, let's make it weird. Like weirder. I was like, the weird movie, I can say this right now. I think this is why I like the Halloween franchise as much as I do. Mm-hmm. Is because like one of their weirder movies I actually really like. And I think if I'm correct, it's Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it's like a haunted television show where there's like teens locked into the original the original Myers house.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's a television show. So there's like someone faking to be Michael walking around the house trying to scare people. But then there's actual real Michael in the house killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole scene where one of the girls inside the house, there's cameras throughout the house. One of the girls inside is able to text a dude on the outside who's good with like tech and communication and is like helping her survive the house outside. He's outside giving her directions on like where to go and how to be safe and like trying to help her escape from the like it's for its weirdness. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Okay. Something to keep in mind.
It's got fucking Tyra Banks in it.
You know, she's actually...
And she dies in it. It's actually kind of funny.
The things I've seen her in, she's been pretty good, actually.
This was definitely during her height of America's Next Top Model life.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Which is crazy when you go back and rewatch that whole series.
But yeah. I've watched all of Halloween. I've watched all of Nightmare on Elm Street. All of Friday the 13th. It.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's only 2 things. Chucky. I've watched all of Chucky.
Yeah. You are definitely now more...
I'm working on Hellraiser.
Yeah. You're definitely more horror guru than I am now at this point. For sure. But
yeah.
Anyway. That's all I got.
Yeah. Our next movie is The Craft. The original.
There's a new one?
Yes.
Oh.
The Craft Legacy, which is actually a good film. I actually liked The Craft Legacy. I did see both, and both are good. One is kind of like the newer, but like harkens back to it, and it's actually really good.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing The Craft, so look forward to that. You can send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. You can follow us Instagram, Twitter at horrorunmasked. You can listen on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, and YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
Or will you fear not?